Now, Greece says it's completed a 40-kilometre fence on its border with Turkey and installed a new surveillance system amid fears of refugees arriving from Afghanistan. The Greek Citizens Protection Minister said we cannot wait for the possible impact of the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan. His comments came as President Erdogan of Turkey called on European nations to take responsibility for people fleeing the Taliban. Well, I'm joined now by the freelance journalist Daphne Michalis, who is in Athens and speaking to us. Thank you for joining us here on BBC News. In terms of timing, this is quite a message to send out to refugees and those in need. How's it? Just tell us a little bit more about this completion and extension of the wall.
Exactly, yes. As you said, the 40-kilometer-long steel fence has been completed. The Defense Minister and the Citizen Protection Minister were both yesterday, Friday, there. They visited the wall, the border there. They said that Greek borders will remain secure and impenetrable, and that border forces are on alert for any possible wave of Afghan refugees trying to cross into Europe through Greece.
Is this,
yes.
Sorry, is this widely supported by the Greek people?
It is widely supported, I would say, especially after last year, the event of February 2020, when thousands of refugees and migrants attempted to cross in large numbers from Turkey's land border, the same border that divides Greece and Turkey, Evros, after Turkish President Erdogan said that the borders were open. So people try to come through Greece to move further to the European Union. And following those events, that's what actually sped up the completion of this border, which was already announced that it would happen. But this made it faster, to happen, to reinforce the existing border and to make an even more reinforced steel fence across this zone, which is actually let's say one of the deadliest land borders for asylum seekers, migrants, refugees crossing into Europe.
So what's the Turkish reaction been to this? Because obviously this is going to leave them shouldering the burden. In fact, beyond Turkey, how are Greek and Europe's neighbours viewing this?
Greeks, for example, on the Greek islands like Lesbos, Samos, Chios, Kos, and Leros, the five islands that have bore the brunt, let's say, of the so-called refugee crisis the last 6 years, they are mostly concerned about any possible wave of refugees. People who live by the borders are mostly concerned of this might trigger another big wave of migration to Europe, but Turkey as well has been hosting a large number of Syrian refugees, about 4 million, and 117,000 Afghan refugees, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency. Greece, according to our migration and asylum minister, Notis Mitsotakis, has 40,000 Afghan refugees, half of which are already identified, as we said, recognized refugees, and 20% of these are waiting still for their asylum claims to be processed.
Daphne, I understand that this wall isn't new. I mean, this is just part of an array of anti-migration flow barriers that have been put in place by Greece. Can you just tell us a little bit about what more is involved? So there's a wall, there's a lot of AI tech as well.
There is a lot of border surveillance, digital border surveillance that was also in place since last year, since the events of February 2020. After that, military Frontex officials, Frontex border guards, the European agency, the European Union's border agency. There was a siren that, fortunately, they didn't use it after it was making a noise for people to scare them on the land border, and then actually it created a reaction by people.
Is it working?
And humanitarian.
Yeah, has it been working?
Not really, no. They stopped. I mean, they did work. It did work for a while, but then it was heavily criticized because of the sound it made at the land border. You know, to sort of scare people off. There's thermal grading cameras. There's border patrols across the. It's heavily bordered. I was there in June and tried to access as a journalist, and I 3 times I was stopped. 3 times in 2 hours by military, by policemen, by border guards. 3 times told, you know, I should not be there. I wasn't holding a camera or anything. I was just driving by to see the actual border, how it looked. You know, and it's also wetland. It's a protected wetland there. So the Evros River has species of birds and everything. So a few years ago, you were able sort of to go and visit there and see this important wetland. But now it seems that it's impossible. You're not even as a journalist, you need a special permission to go there and see the area. So it's yeah, it's heavily bordered, heavily guarded at the moment.
Okay, Daphne Tollis, thank you very much just for updating us with the details. Thank you.